Well, thank you for joining us. My name is Melissa Fetterhoff. I'm the president of the Nashoba Valley Chamber, and today I am here with Wally Dwyer. Wally is the CEO with Main Street Bank. Welcome, Wally.
Great to be here, Melissa.
So, Wally, you have deep roots in the community, in the Nashoba Valley and the Marlboro community. You are a proud past chairman of the Nashoba Valley Chamber. I quote you because we've had this conversation a few times. You are a former board member for United Way of North Central and current chairman for Mount Wachusett Community College Foundation.
Correct.
Excellent. And you've been in banking for we determined about 30 years now.
30 years. This is my third or fourth recession, although I don't know if it's been officially declared a recession yet, but just
not
about,
official
yeah.
That I'm aware, but it's happening. So
it does appear to be the case.
Yeah, and this is a new experience for everybody that we're all going through, though. So I had the opportunity early on to talk to you about what was happening at the bank and what you guys were doing, to get ready for the months that now we've had, where we've been working from home and changing the way we operate business. Do you want to share with us what Main Street has been busy doing?
I can't believe it's only been a couple of months. It feels like years since this all started. Really since the beginning of it's funny, we've had to throw our budget out completely. We voted it, in December, and by the end of January, it was pretty much thrown out the window. The way it first started affecting us, I think, was the impact on the financial markets. And I'm not sure if this was the trigger that finally did it. It was amazing. We had the scares last year with the trade war with China, and then there's been some stuff with oil and things like that. But lately, the beginning of the year, I think the reality of this coronavirus impacted the financial markets. And, everybody talks about the stock market, but we at the bank are far more impacted by the bond markets. And what happened is back in, I'm going to say the end of January, early February, we started seeing the bond markets rally and interest rates plummet, which is the lowest rates in history. So what that did was it created an enormous demand for residential refinances, which was shocking. People that had 4% mortgages were refinancing because they could get 3.25 or 3.5. But we also had a bunch of commercial customers who had negotiated good deals with us a couple of years ago at, let's say, 4.75 or 5, and said, "Yeah, boy, I think you guys need to do a lot better. If the Treasury bond is only at 60 basis points, you guys should do a little bit better." Long story short is that was created a lot of work for us, and at the end of the day, what we got was less revenue. Our revenue was interest income from our borrowers. So that wasn't really a great start. So we were struggling with all of that flurry of activity. Just about when the reality of the coronavirus crossing the oceans and hitting our continent with real pandemic planning. And, you talk about not having to do stuff. We've had some ups and downs in financial markets before. Never really had this pandemic planning that we had to deal with in terms of keeping our customers and our employees safe. So at this point, we've got, we switched quickly, like most banks did, to drive up only. We probably have at least half of our employees working from home. I'm at home. And that has gone very smoothly for us. We're still taking customers in when they need to access their safe deposit boxes, for instance, if we have to have notaries, things like that. One thing that has been challenging for us, though, and like all of your customers and small business owners across the country, is we've lost a lot of employees to childcare.
Yes.
We have a bunch of employees that they're not able to work from home because let's say our tellers, for instance, teller can't work from home. Right. But if their kids are no longer in school or at daycare, they don't have any other options. So we have a whole bunch of people that, we had to figure out way before there was guidance and this CARES Act came about, how are we going to compensate them? Are we paying them, not paying them? So we sort of early on compromised, and I think we said, you know what? We'll pay you for 10 days if you have to quarantine, because again, at that point, we had no idea it was going to be months of closure. We said your first 5 days, you have to use your vacation time. The next 10 days we'll pay for as additional, benefit, if you will, over and above anything extra. And then the CARES Act ended up coming in somewhat similar to that. So that's all well and good. Getting back to normal, we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But so I got the financial crisis, going on this side. I've got pandemic planning going on the other side. Oh, and then you know what? Governor Baker shuts the economy down.
Right.
So as you know, my next wave was all of these small business owners and homeowners calling up saying, I can't make my payments. I don't have any revenue coming in. And we then had to shift a whole bunch of attention to that. So I call that like sort of phase 3 in the process for us, which was let's deal with our customers who are having challenges right now. And I think, we've done a good job of that. I don't advertise it all over the place, but what we are saying is call your banker. We're here to help. So we are absolutely committed to helping customers through this. We've done all kinds of payment deferrals, both on the residential and the commercial side. We are typically giving people 3 months. And what we do is we say, don't make any payments for 3 months, but 20 years down the road, when your mortgage is supposed to pay off, you're going to have to pay it for 3 more months.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much our standard thing. But that's an enormous volume of work that we've had to process. Even if it's a 1-page agreement, we've got to type it up, we've got to send it out, we've got to make the adjustments in the system. So we've got people in the back room going crazy like that. Then the CARES Act comes out and the big bomb got dropped, which is this Paycheck protection program. So, you've probably seen some of the challenges that we've had out in the world these days with the SBA not being able to handle them. We've had our entire commercial team working day and night for the first wave of them. I think the first wave, we got 388 loans done. It was about $60 million.
Wow.
I don't have the number of jobs offhand, but it was an incredibly frustrating process, but it was also an incredibly rewarding process because it's great to be appreciated for what we do as a bank. I was telling my staff early on, I said, we aren't closing. We're an essential service. People don't necessarily think of that, but banking is an essential service. What we do is really critical to the world. Just a quick funny story. My wife, Patty, at one point, with some cash, I sold a little utility trailer that I had, and I had some cash. And Patty said, would you, at least deposit it instead of just spending it for a change? And I said, well, here, why don't you take it? We'll, keep it around the house if we need something for, pizza delivery or something. And she says, yeah, that's a good idea in case the banks shut down. I said, honey, the banks aren't shutting. If the banks shut down, that green money isn't going to be worth anything either. That's when you're talking about, canned food and guns are the new currency. So we take a lot of pride in staying open through this whole process, doing whatever we can to make it all work. But it has certainly been a hectic, exhausting time for the bank. But we're in a good place. And I think, like I said, we're holding up well. The morale remains pretty good. I think customers appreciate us. So relatively speaking, not too bad. How about you, Melissa? You guys hanging in okay?
We're hanging in. I will say, I do have to give you guys a shout out. We have, as you know, we've been notifying all the businesses, keeping them, trying to keep them very informed about all the, funding options that are available to them. And, when the whole SBA PPP issue, first was rolling out, and they were having some of the larger banks, if you will, were not servicing well their customers. And so we fielded a lot of calls from people. And I was like, remember all those other times that I've told you should be, using your local, banks. This is why. And I heard from several business owners that were clients of Main Street Bank, and they had absolutely great things to say about your team. So you guys have done a great job with that. How do you see the world of banking, especially with our community banks, changing as we hopefully at some point get back to a normal?
Well, who knows what the new normal is going to be. I will say there was already a trend in banking away from people coming into, the old way, back when you were a banker a few years ago. We see a lot less traffic in the branches, just as a normal trend. People are getting a lot more comfortable using alternative delivery, like, mobile banking, for instance. And we think it's great. It's been a wonderful resource for people through this whole pandemic. In the short term, I think banks are going to ease back into it, just like the rest of the economy. I'm not sure we're going to, in a couple of weeks or whenever this goes away, I don't think you're going to see banks open right up to the way they were before. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we collectively decided to stay drive up only for a while. Might be a little bit more access for people to come in and do transactions, but that would be more appointment only, because it's going to take us a while to get through this. What it's done for me, though, is shown that we need to accelerate. Obviously we're always investing money in new technology. I think what we have is pretty darn good. But it's a great opportunity to reassess where we're, if we were thinking about spending money on, let's say, rehabbing our branches and making them prettier. Well, you know what? Whatever money I was going to spend there, I might choose to spend on some technology upgrades or some new features or something like that, because that's what customers are going to be demanding going forward. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is you're going to see a lot more. The trend was already going from face-to-face to digital. It's going to accelerate. We're constantly telling stories. I think we helped a 88-year-old woman access online banking, and that's nothing. I didn't mean to be ageist or anything like that, but it is sort of an interesting example of somebody who's never done that before. She says, "You know what? This was awesome. I can't get over how easy it was for me to do this stuff." Now, hopefully we'll still see those people in the branches from time to time, but it's nice to know that they don't have to come in if they don't want to. Whatever they, we can do. So I think that's going to be the biggest shift.
Yeah. A lot of tools. We've, these Zoom meetings, I've been using Zoom meetings for quite a while now, with one of our associations. And it's funny now, it's always been slow to get people interested in, but now everybody is, oh, let's do a Zoom meeting. I'm getting zoomed out, but there's all kinds of tools and technologies that are at our disposal that we've not been utilizing to the best of our abilities. But it's good that we can now start moving that way. What advice do you have for businesses as there's, huh?
I was just going to say, you and I are having a little bit of challenges with our Zoom, but I think that's on my end. I might have a little unstable internet over here, so I apologize.
It could be my end too. It's the time. It's, everybody has their kids home doing schoolwork. It's the new norm right now. So
it's true.
What advice would you have for businesses that are struggling right now?
Well, if you're struggling, the best thing I can say, and I say it over and over and over again, is call your banker. We're here to help. We've got experience in stuff like this. If you're worried about your ability to make your payments, call us up. We can almost always work something out. There is a lot of flexibility on our side, but there needs to be that open communication. We always say, look, foreclosure is plan Z for us. There's lots of other tools that we can put in place, but you can't run from the bank and hide. You can't just put your head in the sand and pretend it's not a problem, because then that creates anxiety or stress on our side, because we don't know what we've got and we have to proceed, as it goes. But I alluded to it earlier. We're trying our best to help as many people as we can through this process, and that's what we want to do. That's where a mutual bank, which means we exist for the benefit of our depositors and our customers. That's what, we like helping people through rough times.
Well, you do a great job at it. Thank you. Anything that we didn't cover that you think you want to share?
Well, thank you. No, but if you have other questions, you can call me anytime, Melissa.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll send this to our video editor and see if there were a few little bleeps in there, and see if he can fix it. This is the joy of working with local businesses. We love promoting local businesses. Thank you to Main Street Bank. Thank you, Wally, for your years of support for the chamber. through, leadership on the board, sponsorship of the chamber, all of the times that you share all of your employees with us. They are all, we love working with them. They're a great team. So thank you for everything and for being a supporter of the community.
I'm very proud of our relationship with Nashoba Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm very proud of our team of employees. So like I said, we're here to help. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help with you guys too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Melissa.